So this guy is more or less full. I have a feeling with this wheat field, we're going to have a lot more here. So I'm going to need more trailer space. So I'm going to go over to my silo and just dump this off. And this we can just store for later, which is fine. We don't need it right now. So just dump that. Unfortunately, with the dumping, I do have to stay on the tractor. I can't walk away because otherwise it stops the dumping process. And then to pick up that whatever we dropped off, we just come over here to the other side. And there's a little pipe. You just put your trailer underneath it and say, fill it up. And you're good to go. I'm just going to put the trailer right about here because we might need it again. Okay, pipe back in. Turn our harvester back on. So hopefully we don't make that mistake again and run over more of our crops here. I knew I was about to fill up too. I just forgot about it for a moment. Oh well. I think I'm going to have enough money to do what I want to do. With the sale of that one tractor, I don't know off the top of my head how much it's going to cost us for some of the equipment I'm going to want. The chicken coop I think only costs 20 grand, so that shouldn't be too bad. We're going to have to buy the chickens too though, so that will be a slight concern, but although we should still have plenty of money without having to take a loan for a lot of the things I want to do. And some of the stuff we're going to need is going to be progressive. So I'm going to worry about planting the fields first and then worry about the chickens later, because once we do all the planting and everything, we're going to have a lot of time on our hands. So we'll go from there. And if we still have time on our hands, there's always those contracts out in the world that we could do for a little extra money. I found they oftentimes don't really pay the time investment. Like, they don't pay you what that time investment's worth. I mean, I guess it's a fair wage based off of what you're doing, but one advantage, though, is if you're doing a harvesting job, usually the jobs give you leeway. So you can harvest their entire field, and they're only going to want, I don't know, let's say 90% of that. So you get to keep that little bit extra. So it is a way you can kind of game the system and squeeze a little extra money out of things. Unfortunately, you can't collect the straw, though, which is a little bit of a bummer, but they don't let you do that. You're seeing the hilliness. This isn't actually that bad. This is fairly straight. But yeah, you can see it if I look to the right. You can see how the terrain kind of raises up there. Ravenport's much worse because usually on every field you own and your starter farm, one of the ends is like a really bad hill. So it gets challenging to move this harvester over it. This is not bad at all. So yeah, I think that's one thing that's really good for us. Now I guess I'm gonna look around here and think of where I'm gonna put the chicken coop, because I'd want it to be on fairly flat ground. Maybe over there, next to our farmhouse. Probably up against the road there. That way we can pull in and grab the eggs when we are ready for that. The one thing I'm not sure what I'm going to do is the eggs. So one advantage of the chickens is that the eggs, which is what they produce for you, it's fairly lightweight, so you can pick it up by hand. But we still are going to need some method to transport it to where we're going to sell it, which is conceivably far away. So we could get like a truck, like a pickup truck or something. I don't know if the trailer we have would work for that. I guess maybe. It wouldn't be so much putting them in the trailer, it'd be more getting them out of the trailer. I'm not sure about. I'd have to see what the height of the trailer is. That'd be like one of the factors. Because if the trailer's not that high, that makes the idea of throwing the eggs in it not too bad. Because then all I'd have to do is park it, get out, and start pulling the eggs out from the top. But I have a feeling it's too high for me to get out and do that. I can test it here in a bit, though. But otherwise, we're going to need like a pickup truck or something. But your pickup truck might be good too, just for moving around other various cargo we're going to need to move around, so it wouldn't be a wasted purchase by any means. And if we get the cheaper one, it's not all that expensive either, in the grand scheme of things. Tractors and harvesters and stuff are really expensive. I mean, you saw, we sold that Fiat. That's like the cheapest tractor in the game, and we got $53,000 back for it. So... Alright, how are we doing on our stores? 64%. The one thing I will say is a little trickier with this style of doing your fields is it's harder to tell how far you've progressed as far as like, oh, am I halfway done yet or not? Because you can't just divide the field down the middle and go, okay, I'm done. I've done half, you know. All right. So I'm probably not going to make this next pass without filling up, because I'm going to be maybe just barely get it, because it should be a shorter go here, but I'll try and pay attention a little bit more here so we don't run over our own crops. Now there is, oops, there we go. There's a landscaping mode where we can adjust terrain as well if we so choose. It does cost money to do though. And I don't have a lot of experience using it, so I think we can get away with it as long as I just make sure that the land for the chicken coop is fairly flat. It should be good enough. It might be a little ugly in spots, but maybe we can touch it up after the fact. I'm gonna have to look at the land that I was planning to put it and see how flat it is. It might be hard for me to tell, but we'll see. Almost done. Okay, so we're at 85%. I'm definitely going to get full before we make the next long pass. But each successive time I do this, the passes become shorter. Alright, so 87%. Just keep an eye on it now. Yeah, we're pulling a lot from this field, which is definitely a different dynamic from Ravenport. Okay, we're at 94. I'm probably going to stop at 98%. That's probably good enough. I mean, we don't need to fill it up all the way to capacity. We might just be able to get this pass done. Alright. Yeah, just managed it. Alright, that's good enough for me. Let's get our that off. Pipe out. Get our trailer, which should be right nearby. And now that we've talked about what we're gonna want, as far as, come on, everything. So I'm gonna get this one filling up. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take our other tractor to the store and do some of the purchases and stuff we talked about. Normally I'd wait until I'm done with the harvesting, but if I have dead time like this, I'm gonna try and fill it up with something. So this tractor here, I think I'm gonna turn into my main work tractor. Right now we have the other tractor kind of doing that, but I'm pretty much gonna do two different setups for my tractors. So this one I'm gonna turn into... Oh, I've got a couple purchases I'm gonna want. I should have left the weight behind. I just realized I made a mistake, because there's gonna be a couple things I'm gonna want, and I think one of them, I can't use the weight here, so I should have dropped that off. That was my bad. Oh well. I'll leave it at the store and maybe get it later. It's gonna be a little bit inconvenient because I'm gonna have to go to the store for no reason. But that's alright. Let's go ahead and sell this cultivator. Oh, is that our bank over there? Little ATM. Okay, drop that guy off. Get out. All right. So we're just gonna sell this for a little over 6,000. Okay. I'm gonna back the tractor in. And this is where we're gonna do our customization. So I'm gonna hit customize rather than sell. So as far as this goes, I'm not gonna do anything with the wheels, although I could put maybe wider tires on. Yeah, which might give me more stability for something we're gonna do here, but I think we pass on that. I am gonna upgrade the engine. 17,500. It's gonna jump us up to 150 horsepower, which puts us on par with that Fiat. So, which is another reason why I sold the Fiat. Because if you keep it around because it has more power, it's very easy to upgrade these guys to the same power. So whether or not I'll need that power, I don't know. Not at the moment I won't, but... And then a front loader. This one's going to be more important. I'm going to attach that. It also only cost 1,500, so that's good. So go ahead and do that customization for 19,000 in total. I'll say yes. Okay, so our tractor's good to go on that regard. So now I have some equipment I want to buy while we're here. So let's start off with the one bit I want. So go into the store here. I want to get a front loader setup going. So there we go, front loaders. So we're gonna go ahead and select that. I'm gonna grab this guy here. We're gonna customize it. We can change the paint color. I'm gonna change it to the Fendt Classic. That will match the paint job of our tractor. It's gonna cost us some money to do that, but it's only 200 euros, so I don't think that's that big of a deal. So we say yes to that. 5,600. Okay, and then we're gonna need an attachment for the front loader. So we want... oh no, that's gonna be under the front loader section. Thought it was under a different section. I want the bucket here because that's what we're going to use to... There's a whole bunch of different attachments that we can put on this. These are for a DLC. That's one thing that's kind of tricky with this game is the DLC content, if you have any DLC, is always at the end of your setup. Usually these are ordered by expense, although not necessarily in our case, but on a lot of them it's ordered by expense. But we're going to need this bucket because what we're going to be able to do is the chickens are going to make a mess and we need to scoop it up, and it's more or less they throw their food around. We're going to pick that up and put it right back into their feed bin. So that's why we're buying this. But later we can get pallet forks and bale spikes if we need that kind of stuff too. So this is going to be utility maybe for the future as well. But for right now, the only thing we care about is the universal bucket. So we're going to go ahead and select that and buy it. I could change the color. Black is fine with me, I think. How much does the color change cost? 200? Because we've got like a green and black motif going with this. I think I'm going to make the bucket black. I don't know if that's going to look nice. We'll see, I guess. Okay, so there's our different equipment. So I'm going to grab the front loader first. And this is where I don't know if I can attach that weight to the front. I assume not, if I have the front loader attached. Okay, front loader attached. Now let's get the bucket. Okay, good. Let's grab the harrow. Okay, that's good. And then let's ask the question, can we grab the weight if I raise up the bucket? I honestly don't know. I've never tried this. I'm going to say no, probably, but hey, you never know until you try. Oh, I went the wrong side. Should be on this side. Oh, you can. Can I lower the bucket? Oh, okay, that works. I was a little worried that I'd have to come back for that. Definitely noticed the difference in the engine sound with that more powerful engine. Look at the number of front attachments we have. So if you look up in the upper left, it's kind of small, so it might not be super easy to see, but there's a little logo of a tractor. And then there's little, I don't even know what to call them, like quarter circles. 3 of them in the front and 1 of them in the back. Each of those is a different attachment. All right, so just to show you what this looks like, let's go ahead and attach it. I don't really see a reason to get rid of the front loader if we can do it like this. We'll just leave it on, I guess. Because I was thinking about dumping it, so we're just going to back up into the cedar. Boom. And now we're like Voltron or the Power Rangers. We got all these devices on one thing. But there you go. So now we've got a lot of what we need in this tractor. So let's set this guy up. I don't remember. Which side does the ridge maker pop out naturally? Okay, that side. Okay, we'll see how that works later. I just wanted to remember what side I wanted to set up on. So I'll set up a tractor for the processing of this field. Cocoa Power Farmers. And we're going to do some modifications to this tractor as well, but that will come in a bit. So just pull this guy off to the side a little bit so it's out of the way. That's a lot of accessories for me to manage, though. On that one tractor. Which is probably why I'll dump the front loader, just so I don't have to worry about it. Okay. Yeah, with the weight thing, I wasn't sure if it would work because I thought maybe the front loader would be in the way, but there was no reason why it wouldn't, because the attachment point for the front loader would be different than the attachment point for the weight, so... Alright, so we got 168,000 euros left after those bits of purchases. All I need left to do, as far as purchasing equipment for ourselves, and this is more need, is a way to fertilize and a way to take care of our crops from a weeding perspective. Now again, offhand, I don't know how much that's going to cost, but let's say it costs about 80,000. We still have a decent amount of money left over if that's the case, so that's kind of the budget I'm going to set myself. I think it's going to be cost a little less than that, but It shouldn't cost more than that. I also don't know how good of an idea having a front weight like that is on a front loader. Because if we were using it like the pallet fork, you'd be picking up something conceivably heavy in the front. But again, we'll find that out as we do things. I think the need for the pallet fork is going to be a little bit more down the road. It's something I'm definitely going to eventually want. But it's more convenience than an absolute need. And we can get away with a little bit more on this map because the shop is so close. Because the main reason I'd want the pallet fork is just to bring goods from the shop to our farm so we don't have to go back and forth so much. But it's right down the road, so it's not as big of a deal. It's more of a deal on Ravenport because the shop is actually quite far away. But so far, this map has been fairly convenient with that shop. Yeah, we're almost done. Just a few more passes. Give or take. If I have money, I would like to collect the straw, but if it comes out that it's not going to make financial sense to do so, then it's not something we need to do. I think I should have it in the budget to do it, though. It's an investment that will take a long time to pay back. I could lease equipment, but I think with the straw pickup, that's something we're going to want to own rather than lease. Because there's a likelihood we'll sit on the straw for a period and wait for the prices to be respectable before we go to sell it. And if I own the pickup, it's a lot more convenient for that purpose. I can sit on the straw in between harvest cycles and think on whether or not I want to sell the straw or not. I guess I could also just dump the straw in a pile somewhere if I wanted to do that. The pickup truck might be more important, though, in our budgeting, depending on how practical it's going to be to transport these eggs. Yeah, we should be able to do this without the harvester filling up again. I see maybe 2 passes, if we're unlucky, 3. I'm going to try and make it be 2 here. But we'll see. At this point, there's no real reason for me to make the right turn here. I'm just going to go ahead and do a turnaround. Because it might just be 1 pass here. I get the feeling we're going to maybe not get everything on this last pass. Because this back end looks a little wide. Wasn't so bad at first, but it's gotten worse. Some of that's, you can see the natural slope of the train. It's going to make it kind of hard to do straight lines sometimes. The objective is to do straight lines, but sometimes it's difficult. It's difficult to pull that off exactly. Yeah, so I missed out on a little bit there, but that shouldn't be too bad to pick up, especially as we're starting to get it all now. So we'll race over, get that last bit, and then we'll be done. We can move on to processing fields and stuff. Before I do that, though, I am going to want to set up my other tractor, because I'm going to want to do this pretty rapid fire. And I have an idea that might be interesting. We'll give it a try. It's not something I've done before. I think in theory it will work. Might be more confusing for me to do it this way, but hey, it will save me passes. Okay. Field harvested. So let's go ahead and turn off that, which will give me more power, which will allow me to go faster. Your tools are a power drain on you, so some of them also have like speed caps anyway, naturally, but your tools, when they're on, will oftentimes slow you down quite a bit. All right, let's bring the pipe out, then just pull into the trailer. I'm gonna leave the trailer here, so we're just gonna get out of this guy. Yeah, as far as putting eggs in this trailer, I don't think it's gonna happen because the trailer's taller than I am. So I would worry about getting them back out. Okay, let's do the next bit. Don't think I'm going to need the... Well, I know I'm not going to need that weight, so we'll just leave it where it is. I still might be able to attach a weight to this one, because I think the sprayer I'm going to get allows you to attach weights, but I think it's specific on what weights it can attach, so... I have a feeling it won't attach to the weight that I have. So first we're going to customize the tractor. And then we'll buy the equipment we need. Okay. That. Customize. So the only customization I want on this one is wheels. So what I want is... narrow tires. Narrow tires allow you to drive over your crops without damaging them. So that's the reason why we're doing this on this tractor. And that will be important for our spraying because, as I mentioned earlier, there's two stages of fertilization. Your initial stage, which you do right after you plant, which in that case you can drive over the crops because they're, I mean, it's just seeds in the ground, so you can't really damage them. But then later, your next stage of fertilization happens at the halfway point of your growing cycle. And at that point, the crops have a height to them. And if you just rode over them with normal tires, you damage them. So that's why we're doing what we're doing here. Other than that, we don't need anything else. I already have a front loader on my other tractor, so I don't feel like we need one on this one. And I don't feel like we need the engine power, as all of the tools I'm going to grab here, I think, have under a 115 horsepower requirement. So we'll go with this. That's only going to cost me 1,000 euros. That's not too bad. Okay. Now that we have that, let's buy our tools. So I'll just park right here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need is a way to fertilize. We're going to grab this, and the reason why I'm grabbing this, so the symbol here means it can drop fertilizer, in particular solid fertilizer. But this guy here can not only drop fertilizer, but it can also drop lime. Every few harvests, I'm going to need to put some lime out on the field. Yeah, people are going to point and laugh at my skinny tires. Yeah, it does make it look silly, but it's all good. But yeah, so this guy can do lime, so it does a double job for me. This guy does the same thing, but it's just greater capacity. And yeah, this is just normal fertilization. So we want this one. At least in my opinion, we do. There are some customization I can do with this guy. I can make it have more capacity, but this thing is going to have a ton of capacity naturally at 9,000 liters, so I think we're good there. Spreading system, you can upgrade this, but honestly, I feel like the spreading system that the thing comes with default is pretty wide, and based off of the other equipment we're going to buy is probably going to be fine. And then we can change the tires to narrow. I don't think that's going to be required because we're really only ever going to use this for the solid fertilizer and the lime, which in both cases we don't worry about crop damage there. It probably would be more economical to do our fertilization with this guy versus the other thing we're going to get here, but it's fine. It costs me money to do this. I know it's 500 euros, but it's fine. Let's buy it. Okay, so it's 39,000 euros there. Okay, and then the other piece of equipment we're going to want is our crop protection. This is going to be our sprayer. But our sprayer is going to do double duty. It's not only going to spray herbicide, which is going to get rid of weeds, but it can also spray liquid fertilizer, and that's what we're going to do for our second stage of crop growth. So this guy here, I think, is the cheapest one. It covers a 29-meter area, which is fairly large. We could get this guy, which is 24 meters, and there's also a DLC one, this Coverland one, which covers, well, it covers 18 meters, but you can upgrade it to cover more area than that if you so choose. And if I remember correctly, if you go this route, this one's cheaper if you go with 18 meters, but I think if you upgrade it, it's more expensive. So I think I'm just going to stick with the Kuhn one here. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll buy it. So 30,000 euros. Okay. We're also going to need a couple supplies. I'm going to start with the fertilizer, the solid fertilizer. So we're going to go to the big bags, and we want solid fertilizer bag. I'm going to buy, let's say, 6 of them. Yes. We could... I stopped counting. Oh, well. That should be at least 5. Let's do one more. I might have been slightly off with my count there because I stopped counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, I got it. All right, so let me go ahead and pick up the solid fertilizer first. Okay, got that. So we just need to go over to the bags and then pick them up. And we do that by driving the trailer close enough to them. Alright, so we'll get a prompt when we're close enough. Like so. This fertilizer we're grabbing right now will last us a long time. So, we'll be good for a while. And this is the kind of thing you would need a pallet fork for. Is to grab these, because I can't physically pick these up. They're too heavy. So, what I would just do is just get a pallet fork and stick it underneath there and then bring that back. That's a thing I could do. Alternatively, I could just take the trailer and go pick it up that way. So, it's not something I absolutely need. Am I coming? No, I'd have to go around the other way to pick that guy up. Just push him out of the way a little bit. Don't mind me. As a matter of fact, we can probably turn him around just by bumping into him enough. There we go. Let's go ahead and pick this guy up. So I can pick him up on the front. I don't know how our driver is going to see what he's doing, but... There we go. And then we'll refill that bit. And we're almost done with our back bit. Oh, we're close enough for the next bit. Okay. So now we're going to need the crop protection. So let me back up a little bit so we're out of the way. All right, that's probably good. All right, so we need to go to an actual pallet. This will be 2,000 liters. We want the herbicide here, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Buy. These are quite expensive, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Now, our tank's not going to be big enough. Now, I can get an extension for this guy, but it's fine. It's not going to be big enough to do all this. And this, again, this is where the pallet fork really comes in. So, refill sprayer. And we're going to leave that tank behind because our sprayer is going to get filled up and not have any more to give. Okay. So that is everything we need for our next bit. Let's zoom out so I can actually see what I'm doing here. Let's see what the view is like. Oh well, it's a good thing we can go in third person. Alright. Go ahead and park this guy right here or so. So my goal with that, I've never done this because usually I break up the spraying and the fertilization into 2 separate steps, but I don't see any reason why I can't do them in 1 step. So I'm going to try and do the spraying and the solid fertilization at the same time. Alright, so let me raise up this bucket a little bit. There we go. Alright, so the trick to this, first off, I'm going to have to manage a lot of different equipment here. And I feel like the front loader might confuse the issue. But I'll try and do my best here to sort through all the equipment. In any case, first thing we're going to need, so I think I'm currently selected on the seeder here. So first I'm going to activate the ridge maker. What the ridge maker does is it's going to make a line to my left along the ground, and then once I'm done with my 1 pass, the line is a guide of where I need to set up for my next pass. So it helps to just align yourself so you're doing your straight lines. So that's nice. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and lower. I'm not going to go all the way to the ground because the... oh, I'm accidentally doing the front loader while I'm doing that. And then I'm going to turn it on. It shouldn't do anything until we actually have it on the ground. And then we're going to switch to the power harrower. We're going to lower that to the ground. And I can control the ridge maker while having this selected, which is nice. And again, I'm accidentally moving my bucket because I'm trying to look around, which you can't really do while you're holding this in. Okay, there we go. Alright, let's move forward a little bit. And then we'll turn the cultivator on. Oh, I'm doing wheat, you're right. Good catch. We want to change the seed to... Hold on, I have to turn it off. There we go. We want it to be barley. Thank you for catching that. Yeah, good. It would have been okay if we'd grown wheat, but I want the barley because it should be higher wheat yield. Did I turn the seeder back on? I don't think I did I? Let me double check that. Yeah, turn it on. Okay. Then switch to that. Good. That should be everything we need. Alright, let's go. So you see the little line being drawn off to our left. So my goal is to drive as straight as I can, which I may or may not succeed at. And you'll see the seed in the lower right there is going to go down slowly as we plant. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lift up cultivator, which should also in turn lift up the seeder. And we're just going to reposition. Now I'm going to need to change the ridge marker to the other side because now we're going the other way. And this is pretty much the process. So to do this right, I'm going to want to go to where that line is. I want to put myself in the middle of the line. A little trickier with the bucket, but that should be about right. And then we just lower the cultivator, which is already on, and the sower should already be on too, so we should be doing that bit. And away we go. So this is much easier than doing the steps separately, where you have your cultivator and your... flip our side. in your seeder because you're having to do having to do what I'm doing right now twice. So it's just a lot easier to do it this way. And as I showed earlier, you can get seeders that do both jobs without having to have two separate pieces of equipment, which may give you an easier time with, like, you know, making sure your brain doesn't melt trying to track all the different pieces of equipment. But once you have everything set up and everything turned on, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. And the amount of seed we have should last us quite a while, honestly. But you can get seeders with more capacity as well. Okay, lift that up. Again, flip sides. So it's going to be our key, is just driving straight lines, which isn't so hard to do on this field because it's not too hilly. And making sure our equipment's all running. Thankfully, with the power harrower, I can tell if that's on because it makes a noise and I can see it spinning around. And then making sure we flip our ridge marker when we are done with a line. Now our line moves over a little bit. I'm not going to follow it super close because I want to drive in as straight a line as I can. It's quite possible the hilly terrain is kind of kicking me over at times. That should be probably good enough. I guess we'll find out when we go and do our other pass on how good of a job I did. Looks okay. You can also get seeders that cover more radius or more area as well, which means you have to do less passes. Same thing with the cultivator. But those cost more money, and our budget's kind of tight right now because we have a couple more things to do on our farm still to get it where I want it to be. Because our ultimate goal is chickens. If all I wanted to do is plant crops, we've already done everything we need to do for that. So I've got all the equipment I need at this point. Granted, the bucket would have been unnecessary. But you could have gotten a pallet fork instead. And then that would have still been something you could have used for general farm management. Okay. Another pass. So this is the bit of farming, at least in my mind, that takes the most attention to detail, because you have to make sure you're doing all your steps properly. Make sure you're driving in as straight a line as you can. Make sure you're following the lines you laid down with the bridge marker. But once you get the hang of it, I think it's not too bad. Because the fertilization in the spraying part, that's not too hard. At least not to me, anyway. Well, the main thing with that is just making sure that you're spraying the area you need to spray. Trying to be efficient with it, I guess. Flip it around. So yeah, after we're done with this, we're going to do our fertilization and crop protection. And then I'm going to look at the chicken coop area where we're going to plant that down. I think I have it figured out, but it really depends on how flat the land is, where I'm going to put it. Okay. And then outside the chicken coop, the two things that I would want would be a pickup truck, which I think would be higher up on the list, and then a way to pick up straw, which would be a like, but not a need. I think the pickup truck is going to be necessary, because I don't know how I'm going to transport those eggs, unless I can figure out another way that would be more economical, which I'm not sure there is one, but it would come down to maybe a trailer or something that my tractors could pull. But I think the cheapest pickup truck is only like 35,000. So there is the limitation that whatever I'm picking would have to be cheaper than that. The sower shows 0% for full under the seeds. Is that for fertilizer? You know what? I don't know. You might be correct. This thing might be able to hold fertilizer because it had a capacity for 1,000, or I'm sorry, 2,000. I would have to look at that. That's actually a good question. We can look at that under equipment on what, maybe the power harrower is that other amount? Let's see. What is that thing? It probably is the power harrower. No, that doesn't say it can do fertilization. Can our seeder do fertilization? It doesn't say it can. What is... Oh, you know what that bar is? It's probably the bucket. Let me check. I'm not sure which of these is the bucket. Let's assume it's this one. Yeah, that's the bucket. So no, I can't do that with the equipment I have. But good question. No, it's fine. That was a good question to ask, because there is a lot of equipment that can do multitasking like that. Oh, ridge marker. There we go. I am on the wrong equipment now. Let's that one. There we go. I accidentally moved the bucket around. Let me, which one is it? That one? Yeah, there we go. It doesn't really matter where it was, but it was just bugging me that it was down like that. That's one of the things I think is so cool about this game, is there's so many ways to solve the problem of how you do what you need to do. And I think that's also where a lot of the learning curve comes in, is learning the interaction of all the different equipment. Like when I first played this game, I didn't realize you could, like, what the puzzle piece symbol meant, and the fact that you could attach various equipment to it together like this. And it's really good for us because the investment has already been made into the seeder, and with what I plan to do, if I don't take a loan, loans would obviously make this more possible, but if I don't take a loan, our money's a little tighter, so it allows us to do what we want to do. But there's a lot of seeders I really like. The one I use on my Ravenport farm is the Coverland one, and that one works really nice. I like that. It basically does the same thing that this does, though. It's the same area. It's 3 meters. I guess it gives an advantage in simplicity, insofar as it is only one piece of equipment to manage rather than two. It is a little bit more expensive, though, like financially speaking, I think. Not a lot more expensive, but